So tell us, what's the big dream?
When I was 18 years old, I got really sick. So dancing, this thing I love so much, was completely out of the question.
I was meant for this moment.
Hi Dance Magazine readers, welcome back to Dance Magazine's YouTube channel. My name is Haley Hilton and this is Dancer Diary, where I'm chronicling my life as a dancer in New York City. Today we're talking about my time competing on the TV show Second Chance Stage. Okay, I'm so excited we finally get to talk about this. This has been a part of my life for like a year now and I've had to stay tight-lipped about it, but the show has finally been released and I finally get to share it with all of you guys. So for those of you who don't know, I was on a TV show called Second Chance Stage. It's on HBO Max and Magnolia Network. If you haven't seen it yet, go check it out. I'm on episode 4 and it's a really good, feel good, just like, I loved being a part of it. The premise of the show is a bunch of people with talent who had to stop their dreams for one reason or another, and they want a second chance at pursuing those hopes and dreams. So it's a variety show, so there's singers and dancers and comedians and magicians and musicians, and they're all coming back to share their talent. And honestly, like, perfect show for me. As I've documented in this column and blog, I returned to the dance industry after 9 years of chronic health condition, and getting the chance to perform on this stage was the coolest thing ever. So the judges are Martina McBride, Taye Diggs, and Heidi Gardner. They're so fantastic. And then Emmanuel Acho was the host, and it was just, the whole thing was fabulous. So I'm gonna tell you about my whole journey to this experience, and it's gonna be really fun, so buckle up. Okay, first things first, how did I even get this opportunity? So in 2023, I interviewed Lauren Gottlieb for a story for Dance Teacher magazine. And in our interview, she asked about me, which is like so nice. I'm there to interview her, and it's not typical, but she was so sweet. Tell me about yourself, tell me your story. And I told her my journey back to dance. And that was that. It was great. The story came out. She's so lovely. And then in November last year, a few months later, I got a message from her on Instagram, and my initial instinct was like, oh no, did like I get a fact wrong? Did I miss a detail in her story? I was a little nervous, but then I opened it and this is what she had to say.
Hey Haley, I actually just got off a call with a casting agent for a show that I actually think you may be really good for. And I want to tell you about it and see if you're interested in it. I think it could be really good, actually.
So many wonderful things about this. I love that a producer came to her and she could have so easily been like, yeah, I don't know, and brush it off and didn't worry about it. But instead she thought like, no, who do I know who could be a good fit? And then she spoke my name in a room that I literally had no idea existed. I would have had no idea that this opportunity was out there that really was a good fit for me and my story. And I just like appreciate that so much and admire that so much in her, and like I promise to pass that on to the next person in line. When I know that there's something that someone would be a good fit for, I'm gonna speak their name in a room that they're not in. And yeah, it just like meant the world to me. We started chatting and she told me about the show, the premise of it, and that she had already submitted my name to producers, which I was like, oh my gosh, this is so nice. And she sent me a form to fill out myself, so I did. Within like a day or two, I think, a producer called me and she asked about my story, and I told her, and she's like, oh my gosh, this is so perfect. We've been having a hard time finding a lot of dancers with this story, because dance is a hard thing to return to after taking time off, because it's so physical and so taxing and so challenging. I think we had like 2 or 3 calls with the first casting producer.
Hi, my name is Haley Hilton. I'm 29 years old and I am a journalist. This is my second act. I write a column about my life for Dance Magazine, about my return to the industry, and so this felt really fitting and perfect. And so yeah, I hope you like this video. I don't have a ton of space in my tiny New York City apartment to show you a lot of fabulous dance moves, but I'm going to include some footage of me dancing.
And then I had a Zoom call with, I think, their head casting producer, and they filmed our conversation. She asked me all about my health and my story and my journey and my family and basically everything we talk about here on this vlog. And they also interviewed my mom, which was so sweet, and they interviewed my husband as well. And then they created a package and they told me that it was gonna be sent to the higher ups, and that final confirmation would be coming from Chip and Joanna Gaines, which is really cool because, like I said, it's a Magnolia Network thing. So that was fun to be like, oh, Chip and Joanna Gaines are gonna see this video of me. That's fun. And then she was like, listen, the holidays are coming up, because this whole thing started beginning of December. She was like, the holidays are coming up. You probably won't hear from us for a while, but don't think that didn't mean you booked the show. Stay tuned. From there, I knew filming would probably, they had said something like February, and this was in December. I knew that on the show you'd have to have 1 to 2 pieces prepared to do. Dance isn't the type of thing where you're just gonna like have something to perform. My last real solo was my senior solo in high school. I was like, I don't know if I booked this show, but in case I did, I want to have something prepared that I'm proud of. And so I decided I'm gonna get something ready, and even if I'm not cast on the show, I'm gonna film it, I'm gonna add it to my reel, it'll be meaningful. So I reached out to my friend Jessie James. She's an incredible choreographer. If you don't know her, go check her out on Instagram and TikTok and YouTube. Like, she is so good. She was literally so generous, like so supportive, so kind, so generous. I told her the song that I wanted to do was Better Days. If you go back to my first Dancer Diary vlog, my social media video that I did with it is set to Better Days by Dermot Kennedy. And it just like honestly like really encapsulates my story, my experience of illness and recovery and return to dance. And it gives me so much hope, and she was so kind to do it. It's like atypical that you say, this is the song I want for a choreographer, right? And I was like honestly a little nervous, but I was like, I just feel so attached to this song. I need to ask her to do it. And she said, yes. We live in different states, so it was kind of crazy. She said, what are your current strengths? What do you want to highlight? Different things like that to get a feel for my dancing at this point in my life. And then she set the choreography on one of her talented dancers at Woodbury. Oh, she teaches at Woodbury Dance Center. And then like films a walkthrough of it, films it with the music, and then sends me the footage. So beautiful, it's so great, so physical, like so challenging, but in the best way. And starting in January, I jump right in. Okay, I'm learning a solo off of a video from Jessie James. If I can get this, because it's tricky. Here we go. Again, I still don't know if I'm cast, but this was like the best thing ever to have something to work towards. You know, like the audition grind can be hard. She's like, do I have an audition this week? Do I not? Being in class is great and it pushes your needle forward, but like having something to rehearse, just something about it is empowering. And it was so good for my mental health at the time to have this. And so I'd go in at least 3 times a week into the studio and I'd work on this solo, and it was so hard. And I remember like growing up as a competition kid, you'd get a piece of choreography and you'd get it and it'd be like kind of sloppy and messy in the beginning, but you'd know by the time you get to the end of the year, like it's going to be beautiful. And that was like such a fun feeling. I would like come home some days like, oh, like I'm so frustrated. She put like lots of like floor work that my body is like and to be fair, some things I had to adjust for my body because I'm not as spry as that amazing, I think 17-year-old person. It was so fun to have this challenge. And over like I think it was January and February, over the course of those 2-ish months, because we filmed in March, the show was in March, I worked with so many good friends. My good friend Libby Lloyd, who was featured in the last vlog, who is in Wicked, soon to be Smash. My good friend Emery Ride, who's currently a Rockette. My good friend Tate Biesinger, he's been on tour with Back to the Future. My mom watched the footage a lot. My husband, I showed my cute little dancers. I was working so hard. And it's one of those things where I try to remind my students this all the time, where in the thick of it, you're like, this is like so messy. How am I gonna get this? And with the concerted effort of like consistency, and like some weeks it was 5 days a week that I was rehearsing, on top of the auditioning and on top of the teaching and on top of the writing and on top of everything else. And literally by the end of it, I felt so strong and so powerful and so ready. And I'm so grateful to have, even for that amount of time of rehearsing, every bit of it was so worth it. I'm spending these 2 months working on this, still not knowing if I've been cast. It took a while. It wasn't until like February-ish that I heard back from them that they're like, okay, you're on the show.
Oh, you as well. Thank you so much. I'm so excited too. It's really just so perfect and so meaningful, and I'm so excited to be a part of it. I have exciting news. I've officially been cast on the show.
Oh my gosh, okay.
Yep. Dad, guess what? Do you remember that show that I was auditioning for Magnolia Network? I just got cast in the show. I'm gonna be on it.
No way.
Yes!
I was just so happy. Coleman was here with me. We got to like share that experience together and just like, oh, finally. Like, it's been like such a journey of illness and recovery and return, and like the journey of auditioning has been really challenging too, just because that's like the name of the game. And so to have this opportunity just felt like a win that I was so grateful for. So I spent that final few weeks preparing 2 solos. I did that Better Days one that Jesse did, and I Lived, which was my senior solo from high school, which felt really full circle for me. And then in the final stages, they let me know that they were going to be coming to New York to film some of my life out here, which was so exciting. Like, I remember watching So You Think You Can Dance or American Idol growing up, and they'd like do hometowns, and I was like, I'm gonna get a hometown. And as you can see from Dance Star, I feel so passionately about documenting your life, and like how cool to have cameramen following you around and depicting this life in New York City that I love so much. Thank you Steps on Broadway, by the way, for letting me do this. I got to use a studio in Steps, and they came and met me there and they interviewed me, which was really fun. I got to share my story, and it was so cool. It was like all these camera people and all this equipment, and they were all so kind and so fun. And after filming my interview, they got to film me dancing with my friends in Steps, which was so great. So choreographer Braden Singley, who's a good friend of mine, choreographed a little combo. And I invited some of my good friends who'd been really supportive of me throughout my time in New York that I just love so much. My friend Emery Ride, who's a rockette, my friend Haley Hilton, who's just literally the best. I love her so much. Just a change maker in every way. Then Maya Castro, so unbelievably talented, and Tori Carboni, so talented, true friend to everyone. Like, I truly love these people so much. We did this fun combo. Brayden taught it to them really quickly. He and I had gotten in the studio the day before to work through it, and then we just danced our hearts out, did it a million times. We were all exhausted, but they were so fun and lively about the whole thing. There was one moment where the cameraman was like filming in between us, and he came like right up behind me as I turned, and I hit him, and he's like this tall, large man, and I just like bounced off of him. I was totally fine. It was so funny. He was like, how does it feel to run into a brick wall? We're all cracking up. Anyway, that whole experience was like, oh my gosh, this is so quintessential New York. I'm in Steps on Broadway with the light coming in through the windows, and cameramen are filming me and my good friends doing amazing choreography by Braden Singh. Like, every part of it was just like, I want to remember this forever. After that, they went and they took photos that they called hero shots, which are like the looking out the window. But even that was so fun. Me like stretching, me dancing, me improvising. And then after that, they filmed me walking along the streets of New York. And then they came to this apartment and they filmed me and Coleman doing a little bit of life together. They interviewed him, and he was really sweet, as he always is.
Everything she does with a purpose. She's just really driven. She has a goal, she's going to accomplish it.
And then they interviewed us in our like literally teeny tiny kitchen that you guys have seen before, and they got to film Lucky, and I feel like having footage of this is like our first apartment that we've been in since we got married, and it was just so special to get footage, beautiful footage of us here and our life here. And they filmed us walking on the street, and it was like such a great day. A few days later, it was time for us to fly to Kansas City. I thought it was just gonna be my husband Coleman and my mom and dad. And as I was getting in the car to leave, a producer called me. Hey, so I have all of the release forms from all of the people attending, right? And I'm like, yep, just my mom, my dad, and my husband. And then Coleman was like, ooh, I was like, what? He's like, it's supposed to be a surprise, but your 3 big brothers are coming too, which like, it's like the best thing ever. I love my brothers so much, and they've come to so many dance recitals over the years, and it was all so sweet that they all literally flew across the country. They also brought my darling niece Keely with them, and I just like burst into tears. So in preparation for the show, we got to work with stylists that were local to Kansas City. So these guys own this apparel lifestyle store called Eula in Kansas City, and their names are Buck and Joey, and they were the best. They were so nice. The show had me like send all the outfits I was planning on wearing and the costumes I was planning on wearing, and then the stylist talked to me about what we could add or adjust or change. And then when we were in Kansas City, they like helped me make little detail adjustments, and they were so nice. A great part of the experience. Love them.
Better days are coming if no one told you. I hate to hear you crying over the phone, dear. For 7 years running, you've been a soldier. But better days are coming. Better days are coming for you. So when the night feels like forever, I remember what you said to me. I know you've been hurting, waiting on a train that just won't come. The rain, it ain't permanent, and soon we'll be dancing in the sun. We'll be dancing in the sun, and we'll sing our song together. We'll sing our song together. We'll sing our song together. Your story's gonna change. Just wait for better days. You've seen so much of pain. Now you don't even know that your story's gonna change. Just wait for better days. I promise you I won't let go. I know you've been hurting, waiting on a train that just won't come. The rain, it ain't permanent, and soon we'll be dancing in the sun. We'll be dancing in the sun, and we'll sing our song together. And we'll sing our song together. And we'll sing our song together. And we'll sing our song together.
The next day started with makeup and hair, and the hair and makeup team, again, sorry, I just keep talking about how nice everyone was. As they were doing my hair and makeup, they asked my story, what I was there for, because everyone has a unique journey to this. And I told mine, and they all started crying. Like, they all broke into tears and like were giving me hugs. We're like, this is amazing, I'm so happy for you. And like, it was just the best. Like, you ladies were wonderful. And then I got to do my dress rehearsal, and this is so funny. During the dress rehearsal, most of the other acts that were there were comedians or singers or musicians, like things that are like pretty sedentary. And so they wanted to come out and get some tight shots in the dress rehearsal. And they told me like, hey, we're gonna have you do this like 2 times in a row to get like this from multiple angles. And I was like, okay, like 2 times in a row is a lot because this dance is brutal. And so I was like, okay, I can do that. And then we started the first run, and like 45 seconds into the dance, you're like, oh, cut. Like, actually, like, that didn't work. We need to do it again. We need to get it from this angle. I swear, somewhere between like 3.5 to 5 times that I was doing it in consecutive order. And I was like, ooh, I'm feeling queasy. Like, this is so much physical exertion that I was getting queasy. It was probably after the second one, I was like, okay, keep it together. We're gonna be fine. After the third, and then finally the last run, before I started, I was like, hey, does someone have a trash bag? And they're like, oh, I can throw away anything you have. I'm like, I just want the garbage can right here. off the side of the stage, and I like finish my final run and my arms are up and I'm looking and the lights go down, and then I instantly book it off the stage and throw up into the garbage can. And I was like, so embarrassing. But the good news is there were no cameras backstage. The camera had been on the stage and I wasn't mic'd, so I'm like, whew, we're good. I look up at the producer, I'm like, oh good, there's no cameras here. And I swear she looked at me like, oh honey. And all of a sudden all these big cameramen come barreling around the corner, and the producer Al has a microphone in my face. He's like, what happened there, Haley? Why do you think you threw up? How are you feeling about it? What's going on? And I'm like, ow. Like trying to be like funny about it, and I'm like, I know this is your job, but come on, this is so embarrassing. And I'm like, I threw up. And he's like, how are you feeling about it for tonight? I'm like, well, I definitely don't want it to happen tonight. If I could avoid it, that'd be great. And then I'm feeling like, oh no, like, is this gonna be the story now? Like, I have this whole story of my life and we're gonna be focusing on like this chick threw up backstage. And I was feeling like getting a little teary, just like this is an intense experience. So my emotions are right on, just like under the skin. And another producer, Mary, walks by and I'm like, I'm just a little nervous that this is gonna be like a focus now. And she was so sweet. She's like, no, your story is the focus. It's important. It's gonna help people. And like, don't worry, it's gonna be okay. I'm like, okay, feeling okay. So I like leave the dress rehearsal feeling good, come back for the show that night. Okay, sorry, the heater in our building just kicked on and it's so loud and squelchy over there. This was my first time really back on stage in a big way, with like a big audience and all those lights, and like certainly on television, like this is a big deal. And I was just soaking it all in with my mom and my husband and my dad, being like, wow, this is really happening. Ah. My brothers had flown in and they were all in the audience, and filming the episode was like honestly a perfect 30 minutes of my life. Like, I'm so grateful that it's captured on film, because it's one of those things that I was like, I just want to freeze this time forever. When I walked out, Tay talked about like the presents that I brought onto the stage, and they were so kind as I communicated my story. One of the things that I said that I've like thought about so many times since is,
if I could go back to my younger self who was so sick, I wish I could show her this beautiful day.
I really wish I could show myself like, look at you, you're here on this bright stage and you're performing for an audience doing what you love, and your family's here and you're healthy and your life could not be more different than it was all those years ago, and I feel so lucky. Then I got to do my dance and it felt so cathartic to do and tell my story in that way. And there's a moment, I'll show you. There's a moment in my dance where I reach to the audience and it says, we'll sing this song together. When I worked on the choreography getting ready for this, I had envisioned that moment. It was kind of like when my hands clasp, it's like me holding hands with my mom, who was truly my teammate through all the doctor's offices, through all the struggle, through all the like pain and frustration. I was envisioning holding her hand, and then also holding my husband's hand, and all the people who've like loved and supported me through this. Right when I did that, I looked out and my family was in the exact spot, like down my eye line as I clasped my hand looking at them, and I just felt like, oh, they're all here and I feel so loved and so grateful, and like, it was amazing. And then as I finished my performance, I looked out and I had a standing ovation, which I was shocked by. The judges' feedback was so kind, so encouraging, so warm and supportive. Okay, the hissing finally stopped, so we're back. I especially love that Tay talked about how it takes 20 years to be able to do these things in dance, and that it can go like that, because that's really how it is. And I'm so grateful that the dance was still in my bones and that I was able to bring it back, and it took so much hard work and energy and effort, but that it happened. It's so wonderful. And then I walked off stage and there was these two women on the side. They like embraced me and gave me this big hug, and they were crying and I was crying, and I look up and the cameramen are crying and the producers are teary, wiping tears. And then I feel a pat on my back, and it was Tay Diggs running by, just like reiterating like, excellent job, which felt so nice. And then my family came backstage. They didn't put this in the show, but my husband picked me up and spun me around, and we were all just like, what did we just experience? That was the best. I'm so grateful that it's on camera forever for me to just like remember this wonderful day. And then obviously we went back out, and for the deliberation there was like something, I don't know if it was technical or what, but it was like 10 minutes that we were standing there waiting for the deliberation. We're like, oh my gosh. And then finally they announced the other winners, and it was Maddie and Omar, who were so fun, so lively, so kind. They play these instruments. Everyone go watch it. Obviously it would have been great to have won, but the experience was so beautiful and so encouraging and validating that it was amazing from start to finish. The whole journey means so much to me, and I'll never forget it. I'm so grateful. Thank you, Magnolia Network and HBO Max and all the producers and everyone involved in creating this very heartwarming, encouraging show that I got to be a part of. I'm so grateful. It finally came out. The episode aired early December. I'm on episode 4, and it's been so fun to share with friends and family and our readers and our audience and get such kind feedback. Everyone's been so supportive of this, and I'm truly so grateful. Now to get to put it out there in this way, telling you kind of my journey, my experience, some like behind the scenes of it all. What a life. I truly believe in my heart that it's never too late to begin again, but there is time to do all that we want to. If you are dealing with your own struggle, whether it's physical, whether it's relating to dancing or not, and you're in the thick of it, like, I want you to know I'm really sorry. I hate that for you. It's so hard. And everybody's journey is different, but like I really do believe that better days are coming. I don't know exactly how, but good things are ahead, and I'm grateful for the good things in my life, including this column and this audience and this show and this opportunity, my family, and dance. What a gift it is to get to share our stories through movement, and to have this cathartic experience in our bones. So yeah, thank you for caring, for watching, for supporting all these years and in this now. If you haven't seen it yet, go watch, and then comment on this post what you thought of it. Love you all, and I hope you come back next month to see what we have happening. Mwah.